All right, thank you for coming in. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so. I greatly appreciate it. Now, today I want to go ahead and talk about the latest news that's going on when it comes to Donald Trump. Now, I won't say this. Am I? Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, a little technical issue. So, right now I want to talk about Donald Trump. But before we get to Donald Trump, I want to go ahead and talk about Ronald Reagan first. Now, if you remember Ronald Reagan, he was one of the presidents of the United States that started the war on drugs. Now, when the war on drugs really started and got kicked off, I was very young. I don't think I was even born yet, to be honest with you, because it came out in 1984, and that was the year I was born, actually. So how did the war on drugs impact especially Black Americans? Okay, so let's go over some key points when it comes to the war on drugs. It had reformed sentencing, and what that did was it had minimum sentencing for certain drugs, mainly the C coke that a lot of people did back then. A lot of Black communities did. It wasn't so much for the cocaine itself, but the rock, that was the one that got a lot of attention, that got a lot of homes broken up. And those minimum sentencing kept a lot of fathers away from their kids. It's an unfortunate thing, but it did. Asset reform, they can go ahead and just take away your assets where you convicted of a crime a lot, and they don't necessarily have to give it back to you back then. Bail reform was another thing. It was a lot harder to get bail back then, especially now when it comes to certain incidences like that. And then the increase for the drug enforcement agencies like the DEA, FBI, and IRS, their funding quadrupled, actually went up 10 times more, if not higher. I think they had like an annual budget of around 5. They went up to 95, and I don't even know what the number is today. But that's how the excess spending of the government went into place. And in truth, you could probably say that's how we got into the point today to where so much money is going to the government being missing because of what started back then, using that as a justification. And you got to think about it. Back then, you can see old video clips of house being raided by tanks and police armor and all this other kind of stuff. And the war on drugs really didn't help that many people. It helped line up pockets of people that went to prisons, and in fact, it made more of a for-profit prison instead of a reformed prison system, and it unjustly made more Black male Americans go to prison and stay away from the homes, and then you had those fatherless homes go on. It wasn't good, and it caused a lot of chaos. And even though that did happen, sorry, I'm just going to get my thoughts together. Even though that did happen, you saw that it turned Black people being more reliant on the government, which transformed more funding going into the government. And it's just, it was a crap show. It really was a crap show. So why I'm saying that Reagan pretty much helped start this? Well, if you haven't heard, Donald Trump is now wanting to, well, it's not something new, let me put it that way. This is something that he said he wanted to do for years now. He wanted to implement a death penalty when it comes to drug dealers and people who use it excessively. Now, that's the way I took away from it. I'll play one of the video clips I have here in a moment. And let me go ahead and get that played.
If you notice that every country that has the death penalty has no drug problem, they execute drug dealers. And when you think about it, it's very humane, because every drug dealer on average, they say, kills at least 500 people, not to mention the damage they do to so many others, but they kill large numbers of people. China, Singapore, Actually, there are quite a few, many in Asia, where they have the death penalty. There's no drug problem whatsoever. They come to our country because we have a much softer policy. We give them a slap on the wrist and say, kill a lot of people. So we're going to, I don't know if our country's ready for it. I am ready for it, the death penalty if you deal drugs. You know, you have to set out guidelines like fairly large numbers, etc. But you'll have it go down very greatly.
Now, would the fear of somebody potentially getting the death penalty make somebody not want to sell drugs? Absolutely. Because let's be real here, people have made the prison system their second home, and people get institutionalized, so they have no fear of going back into prison or jails. But here's what I see was really going to happen. Not everybody is going to get the death penalty. You'll be hard pressed to find one person that does not know somebody directly or indirectly who is a drug dealer. Either your family, your close friend group, distant associate. You cannot walk down the street and you cannot find one person that does not know somebody that sells drugs, right? And then there's the trafficking aspect of it too. Let's say if you're forced to do it, is it going to be one of these things you ask questions and then find out the truth, and if you find out the truth, they get let go? And then there's the other aspect of it of police corruption. What about the police officers that are literally doing the exact same thing the people on the corners are? The only difference is they have a badge, and their badge gives them immunity to a lot of things. I mean, let's be real here. They literally just got rid of the police corruption and misconduct database. So with all that being said, I just want to think about this for a second. A lot of people that came out said, goodbye rap music. Good, it's going to be a lot of black people not having income coming on. A lot of stuff you see on X or Twitter where a lot of the supremacists hang out and talk about this kind of stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure people from like Fresh and Fit are going to talk about this and point 100% blame at the black people too. So I just want to think about some hardcore Republicans that support Donald Trump that were drug dealers. Allegedly, by some of the articles I read. One of them is Kid Rock. Kid Rock, when he was younger, back before he went on country and conservative and he wanted to become rich and got on, what did he do? He went into hip hop, made a few songs, wanted to go ahead and get on with black people, because whenever you get on with black people, it seems like you're more accepted by white people. And that he went on to get the country music that he always wanted to do, right? He supposedly was a drug dealer. Now, Kid Rock claims that he was forced to do it, but nevertheless, he was a drug dealer, right? Okay. And then you have Tim Allen. Tim Allen went to jail back in the 70s for that, right? You got to think about that. Tim Allen was, or is, a staunch Republican and conservative, and if these laws were in place back then, he would be dead. Well, if they applied to black people. But I really think what really happened is that he would just, or just in people in general, like say, hey, you could face death, but instead of taking death, we're going to put you at a minimum of 20 years in prison to keep that prison population going and keep the slave labor going, to keep cost of building stuff cheaper, because you got to think about it. We have all these terrorists and cost of living, everything going up so much higher. It's got to be paid for somewhere, and then you're deporting all the people that would work cheaper, which is normally the Hispanic community. So how else do you do this? Get more and more people in these prisons that's going to work for pennies on a dollar, much cheaper than you could pay any immigrant or illegal here. And there you go. You fix the problem of who's going to build these items, who's going to build these buildings and structures and everything else. But back to the people I was saying, there's also Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg was a horrible person when he was younger. Not only did he sell drugs, he also beat up an Asian man. That's not alleged. That was out there. It's out there for everybody to see. Okay. And then you get into the more famous people, like Jay-Z. Jay-Z is obviously a very corrupt, evil man, and he has said that he has sold drugs. There's documentaries about that all over the place, but now he's a billionaire who's all pro-black. Now, do I think that people who are famous that sold drugs and use that drug money should go back and do some type of reparation or repentance for the stuff they did in communities and people that they harmed? Absolutely. Directly to those communities, not just like a mass thing and the people that they harmed. And, you know, you have 50 Cent, who is now a businessman who made multiple hit shows that everybody loves. And then you have Idris Elba. Also, I can't remember which comedian said that he actually bought weed from him before, but, you know, these people had to make a way to find, to get to where they want to be in their drugs. And this is not drug related, of course, but then there's Cardi B. Just want to throw a female in there who has a very questionable past. Well, actually, no, because she said she was drugging men. So, excuse me. Excuse me. So I say all this, I get a little wordy about all this because where's the line going to be? You never know what will be the thing that will make somebody change their lives, reform their lives. You know, they always say everybody deserves a second chance, but is it going to be, hey, if you sold drugs, you confirm that somebody lost their life, you should lose your life, an eye for eye? Is it good somebody who's just selling weed, that's pretty much a harmless drug, that's who people are still in prison for, and now that we're trying to get legalized, is we one of those things that they're going to lose their lives for, or shrooms or whatever else? What category of drugs are you talking about? And if that's the case, what about liquor stores? Alcohol is a drug. And what about CVS's and things like that, the convenience stores that sell that stuff, and also tobacco, which is also a drug? Is it just what you could put taxes on is okay, or is it just whatever is not taxable? So, example, marijuana is more popular, it's taxable, so it's getting more and more legal. Alcohol, they outlawed it, and then what ended up happening, they bootleg stuff, and it didn't stop anything, it slow anything down. It just made more people criminals because they wanted that one release somehow. Where is the line, and what will be defined as a drug dealer, and who's going to be impacted the most? I can already tell you who's going to be impacted the most. It's going to be people my skin color, darker or a little bit lighter, but not white, not quite white for the most part. And that's how it normally goes. And that's why we have such a large prison population for it comes to black males. And I find that kind of funny in a way, not funny how like funny ironic, because we have so many people that are in prison for like marijuana related stuff, right? But marijuana is now becoming legalized. It is, I don't know. The war on drugs that Ronald Reagan has done, that he implemented, has destroyed so many lives, especially ones in minority communities. And then on top of that, if you think about it, a lot of the cocaine, the crack, and all that other stuff, yeah, we may have missed up crack, but the cocaine came from where? There are little reports out there of the CIA inputting this and putting this in the black communities, and it's poison. Because every single time we rebuilt our communities, they got to find a way to either destroy it or poison it some way, shape, or form. So I just want to know what you guys think about this. Whoever chooses to watch this. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate that. But what do you guys think about this? And what do you think that needs to be done? Now, again, this is something Trump has said he has wanted to do since 2023 from what I've seen. He could have been before that. But we all know how Trump gets whenever he's emotional. He'll accuse and do the wrong things, like with the, what was it, the Central Park 5? Yeah. You know, he wanted them to all to get a death penalty too. He's so quick to want to give people the death penalty. But yet, he's accused of a lot of the same things that people were found innocent of. I mean, let's be real here. If Trump was not rich, never mind, if he was rich, if he was just black, he wouldn't get away with half the stuff that he's done. It really does seem like making America great again is trying to find ways to put minorities under the bus. But you know what? That's just my opinion on it. You guys tell me what you think again. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.